Hi again. So here's where we are. We're waiting till Wednesday. Again, because there's that test that came back, the information came back, but it hasn't gotten transcribed. It didn't get to the doctor in time, so we missed this Wednesday meeting, and we're told that we're on the agenda for next Wednesday. So my verse that I'm just thinking about tonight is out of Jude. Jude is this little bitty book right towards the end, just before the book of Revelation, right at the very end of the New Testament, the little book of Jude. And it talks about, in the 21st verse, it talks about keeping yourself in God's love as you wait for. And now the context is about the return of Christ, but there's this beautiful statement of keep yourself in God's love as you wait for. And I'm thinking tonight about all of the things that we might be waiting for. So I wait for things to work out for an operation. I wait for that day when the operation can be done. I wait for certain things to fall into place. I wait for things of the future to be able to make sense and what the next step is. But we're all in that position of waiting, and we talked about anticipation in a previous note, and that sense of anticipation. But here's the thing. I think the waiting is part of how it's in that season of waiting is part of how I prepare myself best to receive and know and to dwell in God's love. Now, what I tend to do in waiting is lean into discouragement, right? Let's do some D's. I learn to lean into discouragement, and I can lean into doubt. And when I lean into discouragement and doubt, eventually that results in distance. So in my journey and in my time of waiting for this thing to happen, discouragement settles in. Discouragement causes me to doubt God's love and God's action, that it ever will happen, or that God really even cares or knows. And when I get to that place, you can't help but get to the place where then you're just distant. And what if during that season of waiting, the whole heart of part of what God is doing is he's preparing us to be good vessels that can receive and know his love? What if I'm supposed to have a greater focus on his love than I have frustration at his lack of activity, what I would assume is his lack of activity? And what happens is when I get frustrated because it's not working in my way or at my time, I can't give love for God, and I really can't receive love from God. And so there's this great little note that he's encouraging the church. The little book is about as you're waiting for the end times, and it's a great little book to read. But in that there's that great statement as you're waiting for this to happen, keep yourself in God's love. So maybe you've been praying for somebody for a long time and it's getting really discouraging. Maybe you're waiting for your own healing and it's getting discouraging. Maybe you're waiting for something to fall into place that hasn't fallen into place. Maybe you're waiting for somebody that you love to return to Jesus. Maybe you're waiting for God to demonstrate himself to you. Somehow, if you could hold on to a glimmer of just a seed of God's love for you, for me, somehow if we could just hold on just to that seed of, but I believe that God loves. If I could hold on to that and keep myself there, then I think the Spirit can empower me to fight off the D's. the discouragement and the doubt and the distance. I think the Spirit can empower me to do that. So my encouragement that I'm speaking to myself in front of you is, so as we wait for another week, keep yourselves in God's love. May you be aware of God's love as you wait for what you're waiting for. And may I be aware of God's love as I wait for what I'm waiting for. And in that, we get to know Him better.